Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's Patmonahan here with you on the Patcast. Currently, we are bouncing around Europe, fighting off jet lag and crime, once again as we visit radio stations and TV shows to play some songs from our new album, Bulletproof Picasso, which is out next week. It's available September 16th here, and I think the 15th in Europe. So go check that out, or wait. I don't know what's best for you as a person, and I don't want to advise you things that might disrupt who you are as a human. We also will be doing some record release shows in New York City at Radio City Music Hall, Los Angeles at the Pantages Theater, and San Francisco at the Masonic. Most of those are either sold out or getting close, but there's still a couple of tickets available if you want to come and see us. We're pretty excited to be able to play a lot of new songs live. I don't know how many, but a lot. This week, we have a really special Patcast guest, and I just think this is one of my favorite people that I've ever talked to. A few weeks ago, Train played a show at Red Rocks. If you aren't familiar with Red Rocks, it's one of the most spectacular venues in the world. It's in Colorado, very close to Denver. It's one of the most spectacular places. Really, you got to go there. Getting a chance to play there is an honor for anybody. And it's pretty amazing when you get on stage and look out at that venue. It's an amphitheater that's carved inside, basically into the side of a mountain. The bleachers are, they're seats that look out at the venue but down, so the stage is at the bottom. You just see the top of the crowd and then the sky beyond them. It's pretty spectacular. A couple years ago, Train had another honor. We were asked to play halftime at the Pro Bowl in Hawaii. We love football. A lot of these guys play a lot of fantasy football, and I think I think everybody picked their teams now, right? So it's about to get going. We were pretty excited to be around some of the best players in Hawaii that year and NFL staff as well. And a lot of them were really lovely to us. They were in our video for Mermaid, etc. But there's a lot of wonderful people in that organization. But we were so busy that we only had time to meet a few of them. And one of those people who left a long-lasting impression was John Fox. He's the head coach of the Denver Broncos. In addition to having one of the most high-pressure, most demanding jobs in the league and leading his team to last year's Super Bowl, he's one of the most down-to-earth, likable people that you could ever meet. And if you know anything about football, you should be a little bit familiar with John Fox. But if you're not, he spent his early years coaching defense on the college level before moving up to the NFL, where he was defensive coordinator for several teams before becoming head coach of the Carolina Panthers. He had some success there, but and even went to a Super Bowl and did not win, unfortunately. But since moving to Denver in 2011, and now with Peyton Manning at quarterback and a dangerous squad on both sides of the ball, he's become one of the most important and influential people in the league. John Fox is a fan of Train, and that's a really cool thing for all of us. We were so excited that he took the time to come out and see us at the Red Rock show. I prepared for this interview the best way I could. I did sprints up and down the amphitheater and ran plays with Pergo in the parking lot. Me and Jerry kicked a bunch of field goals before Coach Fox arrived, and it seemed like it went pretty well. I think he's going to let me take a couple snaps at one of their games this year, and I will end up obviously doing the next few podcasts from the hospital after that. But first, we'll play this conversation for you. It was just before the beginning of the season, live from Red Rocks in Colorado, one of my favorite people that I've ever met, Coach John Fox at the Denver Broncos, the team I'm rooting for this year because this guy's so fucking awesome. Right here on the Patcast.
What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking. What do you do? What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking at you. You got to get it while the getting is good. Laugh when you can, cry when you should. You got to give it till the giving is gone. Do what you can, then you move on. What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking. What
Hey, everybody. We are at Red Rocks in just outside of Denver, Colorado, one of our favorite venues in the world. And a few years ago, we played the Pro Bowl in Hawaii, which is all of our favorite places to go. And the NFC was fortunate enough to be coached by who we think is the coolest, nicest figure in all of the NFL, Coach John Fox. And he's gracing us with his presence today on the Patcast. And thanks so much, Coach Fox, for being here with us.
Well, it's all my pleasure. Pleasure's all mine.
You know, your history of coaching is really intense. But what I found out just recently is you coached with Chuck Noll.
Yes.
I grew up a Steelers fan, so this is very compelling for me.
Yeah, my very first year of NFL coaching was 1989, and Chuck Noll was the head coach, Hall of Fame, great man, great coach. I can't think of anybody better to, kind of initialize you in that profession. He was a great man. We lost him this year.
What did you learn from him that stuck with you over these years?
I think, a lot of times you get into X's and O's, the technique of football, some of the mental toughness involved in football, and just staying on keel. Don't take the roller coaster ride that the media and people on the outside will take you through. It's just staying the same, and, you're never as good as they say you are. You're never as bad as they say you are.
Well, that's good advice. And I need to hear that sometimes.
Yes.
I would rather it was you're as good as they say you are, but you're never as bad.
Yeah. That's another way to look at it.
Yeah, no, that's the way I have to look at it. I'm a singer. I don't have a choice. My ego's terrible. But that's intriguing for me, like the whole Chuck Noll thing, because how many guys coached under him that are coaching in the NFL now?
Well, I followed Tony Dungy there. Tony's won a Super Bowl and had great success both at Tampa and Indianapolis. Joe Green, actually played for him. He coached with me, coached the defensive line, yes.
For the Broncos?
No. Actually, when we were in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Yeah, he came back from a player.
I didn't know that he coached there. That's cool.
In fact, he's been a scout for them probably for about the last 20 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Is there any money in scouting?
Not quite entertainer money, but not bad. It's
Guys
a way to make
okay?
a living. Yeah, they do.
Just
okay.
because the movie where there was a baseball scout, he was out. Just Clint Eastwood was just the grind, and he was probably making $30,000 a year.
It's a hard job. I mean, in entertainment, everybody sees the excitement of concert night or game day, and there's a lot of work that goes into it that sometimes people miss that part.
Right. I have so many questions, but I think, the first one is last year was a massive, monumental, life-changing year in your life for a lot of reasons. Your second Super Bowl as a head coach, but also you had heart surgery. That's a big deal, man. Do you talk about that stuff, or is that something you don't want to talk about?
I think, I always looked at it, sometimes setbacks are setups for better things. And in that case, it was something I was born with. I probably should have had it done maybe about 6 months earlier.
Yeah, did you know that you were going to have to get into that?
Yeah, and like any surgery really, but, to go in and say, hey, I'm ready to walk in on my own free will and have open heart surgery.
Sure.
That's not an easy call.
Right. Yeah.
But I cut it a little close and was fortunate and feel very blessed. I got a clean bill of health and actually feel great.
Yeah, that's all. You look better than you. I mean, I've seen you several times in person now, and you look amazing.
Well, it helps. I'm able to exercise now. I think at one point our trainers were keeping me at 120 heart rate, so not much exercise happens at 120. So it's nice to be able to cut it loose and get after it a little bit more as far as conditioning.
Jerry.
I think that's my resting heartbeat.
Jerry's with us, and he. I'm not a doctor, but I keep asking Jerry if I can do heart surgery on him someday, because I'd love to.
Don't do that, Jerry.
I'd love to see what it would be like. It'd be fun for me anyway.
Yeah.
And then your second.
Not quite like the frog in 9th grade. Yeah.
Yeah, not like the frog. Oh, I don't know what to do now. But, I got to see you right before the game, last year's Super Bowl. I got to bring my father-in-law because Bob Kraft, the owner of the New England Patriots, invited us into his box, which was lovely. So we got to sit there and watch that game. Was it hard to come back after, being away, and was the transition fine? You had...
Well, you know what, Pat? I think at the time I thought I was ready. Looking back at it now,
right.
6 months later, I've got far more energy. I'm far more into it, far more healthy now than I was then. There was no danger in when I came back. We had a lot of medical people looking over at my situation, but I feel a little bit like I was on IR, and now this year I'm ready.
Yeah, you feel like this is.
Yes.
I like what you and Peyton have done is. I mean, setting records, man. It's big. And, I love Andrew Luck.
Right.
He's a super sweet, wonderful,
No doubt.
super great kid, right?
No doubt.
But, man, I mean, Peyton Manning, man, he's still winning.
I will say this:
big.
I'm glad it worked out the way it did. I'm happy. I'm happy for Andrew,
Yeah.
but I'm really happy for us, the Broncos, and Peyton.
And you feel like this is going to be another good year?
Yeah, I do. Peyton looks better than he's looked. 2 years ago he didn't play. So his first year with us, he's feeling his way. Last year he was way more comfortable in the offense, obviously with some
Right.
of the records that he broke. And
Right.
then, this year he's not rehabbing anymore. I mean, he conditioned all off season. He looks great. In fact, the other day I mentioned how good he looked, and he said, Foxy, did I look that bad? I said,
Yes,
no,
you did.
dude. You look real good now.
I let you sing with us at the Pro
Hold
Bowl
on, hold
party,
on.
and in return, can I take a couple snaps this year?
You do far better taking snaps than I do singing.
And Pergo and Jerry want me to take snaps because they want to see how badly I'll be injured.
Yes.
Like
We won't
ready,
let anybody hit you.
hut, and then down.
Finally, something he can't do.
I would love to take a snap, but I would be so scared. Those guys. I mean, you've been coaching now for what, 20-some
This
years?
will be my 25th season.
Have you
in the
seen
NFL.
these men get bigger and badder and faster and meaner and everything else? And because, the transition of football and the way we use the helmet now, or when the game started, you didn't even wear a helmet. Then it was like a strap of leather, and now it's like that's a big part of the whole problem, but also the attack mechanism of these
Well,
defenders.
there's no question that the players are getting bigger, stronger, faster. I mean, when I first came in the league in 1989, there was guys that had, jobs in the offseason. I mean, one guy worked at a bank, another guy worked as
really. So that really happened, right?
So they weren't training year round like they are now. So, the NFL's been very fortunate in that, it's a huge spectator game, and there's a lot of money behind it. And so the players are getting paid so much better now that they don't need to have these part-time jobs. So all they are doing is training year-round, and that enables that. I mean, the science of the game's changed, just like all athletics. And, you're right about the protection of the helmet. I mean, that changed. And, now the rules are we're sliding it back so we're not involving the helmet quite so much in the physicality of the game.
What are the amounts of concussions you're allowed to have in a career or a game, or a year?
I think it's we're way more in tune to it. It's we've got medical people on the sideline. It's not a coach's call anymore. We played Seattle in the preseason last Thursday, and
won.
And we had two guys that
really
got dinged a little bit, and one of them was able to return. The other one they decided we held out.
As a fan of football, preseason is something that not many of us watch or take stock in. But as a coach, and even as a player or a young player coming in, this is it, because you got to decide. Your roster is what, 60?
Well, when we cut down to the final roster, it's 53, and then we have 8 practice squad guys, so it's 53. And right now, we're allowed to be at 90, so you're making a lot of decisions.
So you have to make 37 cuts, and do you do that, or do you have like a special department of firing that? Because that's what I would do.
Well, we all do it.
I think you have one.
I would
It's
just have my
coming out.
wife.
It's
I would
coming
have
out.
my wife
I
do
see.
it. My wife will come in. Oh shit, Pat's wife's here. I'm out.
No, it's it's not an easy day. I mean, you're firing 37 guys that you spent 5 months with. You know what I mean? There's a lot of off-season.
And for a lot of them, this is it.
Yeah.
They got nowhere to go.
No, it's not an easy day, that's for sure. But
and so you get them. You have to do 37 people in a day.
Well, I think everybody does it different. I personally like to talk with every kid because I've gotten to know them.
Okay, so you're in the room when that goes down.
Yes,
that's
yes,
really
yes,
that sounds like the guy that I know.
Yeah, I mean,
really, like you have a reputation in the NFL as being the most likable person. Whether you talk to like the entertainment people of the NFL, or Thomas Dimitroff,
Right.
who's a GM of the Falcons, and lots of agents that I know, and they're just huge fans of you as a coach, but also as a person.
Well, I appreciate that, and it's a great league. We have a lot of great people in it, and it's what makes the NFL what it is. And it's
who would you consider the shitty people? I'd love to get a list.
I have a small list, but I'm not mentioning it.
Is Jerry on
I think
it?
his mic.
No,
I think
Jerry's
his
on the
mic
good
just
list.
died.
Jerry's on the good list.
Hey,
Jerry.
I have to thank him real quick though. I think I owe my career to you, where you used to work. When I met him 17 years ago at a music store, he walked in and he had a Pittsburgh Steelers hat on, and I looked at him and I just said, "Steelers suck." Because I'm from Cleveland and I worked at a music store, and there's the first thing I said to Pat, and then he just smiled at me like, "Who is
not
this?"
a lot of love. Not a lot of love lost
So,
between those two cities.
You
for
were
sure.
there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. I mean, Jerry's terrible. He's so excited about Johnny Football being over there in
Ooh.
Cleveland.
Oh, yeah.
You-
Did you watch the game?
I was busy working, but
Okay. All right. Did you tape the game?
I heard he did really well.
Yeah.
He did, right?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to be a rookie quarterback, isn't it?
That's very hard, because there's so much language and quarterback, arguably probably the hardest position to play in the league.
Is it because you have to know what every person is doing and you have to know how to read the defense? Because it's really, somebody told me that you spend, is it 30% of the time you're together on the field and 70 in a room watching film and learning?
Meetings, yes.
Is that about right?
It is about right. There's a lot of film study, and plus, there's game management. You got to be watching the play clock. You got to know the time clock. You got
Right.
to know the down and distance.
And nobody's better than
situation.
Peyton.
And it takes a pretty special guy to do that at a high level.
Right.
And you mentioned Peyton. I mean, he's arguably, if not the best, one of the best to ever do it.
Right. I consider Tom Brady in that league,
No
too.
doubt, no
Maybe
doubt.
one of the best, if not,
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to decide. I mean, and you don't do that, but there's no doubt those two are.
Yeah, they're Hall of
Way at
Fame
the top,
players,
no
and
doubt.
and we're all lucky to be able to watch them. And you're lucky to be able to coach him, and he's lucky to
doubt.
be coached by you. I think that combination is giving him that second chance at something big.
He's done a great job, with it himself.
Yeah, I think when I read about you and find out that you only spent 2 years as a player in the NFL, what position did you play in, and why such a short stay?
Well, first of all, most coaches, are pretty much kind of do as I say, not as I do. So you figure out the technique involved and how important it is, and when you don't have a bunch of God-given abilities. So I think at the end of the day, those are some of the guys that make good coaches. Not to say a great player can't be a great coach, but I played in college football, learned a lot, was around some great people, great coaches. I've been blessed to be around great people really my whole career. So I think 1979, a guy by the name of Sid Gilman called me up, asked me if I wanted to coach a little school in San Diego called USIU.
And you were a player at the time?
I just gotten done playing college football, and
he asked you to coach already?
Yes. And I came highly recommended by a guy, Ernie Zampese, that was, accomplished a lot in this league as an assistant coach. And
Is his name where Easy Peasy came from?
I think that might have been before him.
Okay.
Reese's Pieces.
Reese's Pieces. He's the inventor of Reese's Pieces. That's awesome. But that just sounds so funny that, like, right after college, someone would say, "Hey, man, that's a guy who's going to be a great coach." Like, what was it that you had that maybe other players didn't have, or were you when you have a player who goes out? Why can't I think of it? Goes out for the coin toss. You
Right.
send your captain. Were you a
yeah.
captain?
Oh yeah, I was named captain. I think really, I kind of knew what I wanted to do when I was 11. When I first started playing organized
You wanted to be a
football.
coach?
I wanted to play as long as I could, and then when that ran out, I wanted to be a coach.
Wow,
So
crazy.
that's kind of what happened. I think
That's awesome.
I had a little bit of a wall, probably ability-wise, for the position I played. I was a defensive back, and
And then when you started coaching defensive backs,
Yes,
right?
that was my first position coach. Coach. Really, I've kind of been on defense my whole career, DBs, and then I became a defensive coordinator.
Your career as a coach is so serious. I mean, is San Diego State the first that you were a graduate assistant?
Yeah, I played there, and then in California, I was going to be a secondary ed teacher. You had to take a fifth year there. So I was able to get another year of scholarship while I went to educational school, and I was going to be a teacher, and then they passed Proposition 13 a long time ago. A lot of your listeners probably don't even remember that, but I put a freeze on all state hiring. So it was really kind of a twist of fate for me, because otherwise I'd be in a high school somewhere teaching PE and coaching high school football.
And the worst part of that is that you wouldn't be on the podcast.
Exactly.
I don't even know what
I might have had a better idea what podcast was if I was in high school.
So this is what John Fox said earlier.
Foxy, man. His name's Foxy.
Foxy. Yeah. So Pergo has been communicating with Coach Fox, and he's like, Coach Fox, hey, if you're going to come to Red Rocks, do you think that you could do the podcast that we do? And he was like, oh, hell yeah, no problem. And then he hung up the phone and went right to your PR person and said, what the hell is a podcast? And then your PR person said, it's a porno.
Should I call back and say no?
No, it'll be good for us. It'll be good. But when I think of when I think of your career and how long it is, was there a school or a team that you coached for that you were like, man, that was kind of a monumental time for me. I learned a lot. That was a building period, or when I knew that I was going to do whatever. And then is there a place that you just never fit right? That because you have a lot of places here, and I don't think of that as a bad thing, because here you are coaching for Super Bowl teams, so you definitely went the right road.
I think, Pat, what really helped me is I pretty much started at the bottom. I mean, nobody's heard of USIU.
You mean like Drake?
Yeah, well, USIU. I'm not going to bang on Drake, but because I was at USIU. But a lot of those moves, especially in college, were just stepping stones. And luckily, I was single at the time, and along the way, I got married in '84 when I was at Iowa State, and with my to my wife Robin, and so I didn't move quite as much. And then over the last 15 years, I was really 5 at New York, 9 in Carolina, and this is going into my 4th season here in Denver. So my kids were able to have a little stability, and I kind of matched up. I wouldn't change anything really.
Yeah. You don't say anything mean about anybody, do you? Man,
true.
I'm trying to get anything.
Yeah.
You got anything mean to say about Robin?
No. Well, there's been moments, but and vice versa.
She seems to take really good care of you, but I'm sure that you take good care of her as well. It's nice to see love, because I really love my wife, and so when I see couples that really care for each other, it's like really lovely. Where in my first marriage, when I saw people who liked each other, I was like, those people suck. I really hope that something weird happens to them tonight. But now I really love it. It's such a nice thing to see. Has it been really difficult for Robin to go through all this stuff with you and all the different cities and the travel? I mean,
I'd say it takes a special woman.
It does.
Whenever you're on the road a lot or you're away a lot, and especially when you start a family, and I'd tell my team sometimes, I've spent my life raising other people's kids, and in many ways as a coach is very much like that. So there's things you miss, but I think when you kind of figure out it's sometimes more about quality than quantity.
Right.
How you spend time with the people.
That's right.
You love.
When you are with your kids, you're with them.
Most of it, yeah. And one neat thing about the NFL calendar year is we do get 5 weeks off, all at one spot. Not many professions really get to do that, and so we've always done pretty terrific things, and we've got great family memories.
Yeah, that's cool. Do any of your children? I don't know if you have boys or girls. Do any of them pursue football or?
Actually, I had 3 boys and 1 daughter. The 3 boys being the oldest. They all played a little bit, either sometime in grade school or even in high school. But they're very creative kids. I got one works for Marvel Studios.
Wow.
Another one is getting ready to go.
Comic book time.
Yeah,
nice.
My youngest boy just graduated from NYU. He's going to try to get into law school
that's
and
great.
study to be an attorney. He's working.
Our drummer's an attorney.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
He can help with contracts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
His own.
Let's negotiate.
Yeah. He negotiates everything, and it's all like, wait, Drew, why are you getting so much?
My percentage is higher.
So, I think the thing that I'm most interested in knowing about you is you were in a Super Bowl as the head coach of the Denver Broncos, and the other team that you played was the Seattle Seahawks. Two cities that legalized marijuana.
Yeah, what's going
or
on?
two cities from states that legalized marijuana.
Correct.
Do you think that plays a role in why both teams were so good?
Well, everybody's probably got their own theory. I think my answer would be probably not.
Right. A hard thing, and I've talked to I've podcasted some NFL players and also, officials in the NFL, and it's a touchy subject because no one's willing to say too much and no one's willing to really make a commitment. And I wouldn't ask that of you because I know that it's a delicate place. But what do you tell your players who play in a city that it's legal, but it's not legal in the game that they play?
Well, I think, just that, Pat, really. I mean, look, you get drug tested. If you test positive, you're going to be suspended, whether you live in Seattle, Denver, or Baltimore. So it doesn't really matter what the state laws are. The NFL is governed by these drug testing. It's set up through the CBA, the union, and the league. So at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter, because if you get if you test positive, you're going to get suspended.
Do coaches have to take drug tests?
Well, it depends on what organization. I've been with organizations that they actually do drug test you as an employee of that particular organization. So, I'm not going to mention names, and there are different hiring acts, but they do get tested.
Right. Well, we have drug tests within Train.
We had one today.
And if you don't have drugs in your system, you're suspended. That's the difference between
What
rock
was
and
today?
roll.
Remember today's? What was today's?
I don't remember.
It was a random drug test at noon today.
Yeah, you never know when it's going to happen.
No,
Wednesday at noon.
Wednesday at noon.
Well, that's how ours is too. I mean, they're pretty random.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a delicate position for some of the people I've talked to because it's not an enhancement drug. It's not something that's proven to make you bigger, stronger, faster, but it is proven to help pain relief and in other ways calm you down, and your guys are taking a lot of abuse on their bodies. And I know that there's like a certain amount of time after a game that you're allowed to take prescription narcotics. Right? Is this right?
Yep.
And a lot of these players are like, I'm not taking that shit because at first, I don't want to get addicted to it. But secondly, it's too whatever. It stresses me out. But pot, I mean, these guys, do you think that it's just a matter of time until it becomes a non-issue in the NFL? Or do you think we're a long ways from that?
It's hard for me to say.
Or do you even care?
I care about everything because it does. It is our profession and it is our league.
They're your kids.
And I think everybody, and in many ways, yes. I mean, you feel responsible for young people and their direction.
Yeah.
I think really at the end of the day, I think you got to always work within a system. Right now, our system is not legal.
Right.
Anything that a doctor prescribes to you is legal, whatever that particular prescription drug is. They keep us in pretty tight deals on that. You can't take it out of the prescription limit. Like if you've got whatever drug for 30 days, 6 months from now, you can't all of a sudden go, I got this little twink and my shoulder and let me have one of those. They'll pop you for that. So
really?
It's a pretty tight system.
You think it's fair? Do you think it's fair?
Well, I mean, it's like everything. I mean, I think that's what we got to operate. You adjust and you have to react. And, I think they listen. So, there'll be changes. There's been good changes, I think, throughout our league in at least the 25 years I've been involved. And, who knows where it's going to end up.
If I was the owner of the Denver Broncos, I would go to the drug tests and be smoking a joint while I took everyone's urine, and be like, "You guys better not break the rule." No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that. Is there any?
I don't think I'll be trying that either.
Who are the cheaters in the NFL? I mean, we know that there's people out there cheating. When I watch certain games, and there are certain coaches that I've seen get caught for stuff, and I go like, yeah, all right, I see how that.
Remember that guy that tripped the player running down the field? Go Google it. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was.
It was the worst.
It was pretty
He
sly.
should be like a European soccer coach. That's kind of, or Mexican. What are the two guys that killed each other? Like the referee pulled out a knife or something.
You don't want to hear this story. It's horrible.
I don't want to hear
I
it.
don't want to hear it.
Man, I have, Pergo has all these great questions, but really, who was the inspiration for you to be a coach? Who was was it the guy who highly recommended you, that who invented
There's just
Reese's
been a lot of
Pieces?
people. I mean, I go all the way back. I had a great experience.
What kind of
11 years old.
parents did you have?
Well, my mom and dad. My dad was a Navy SEAL. So he was away a lot. I mean, it was during the Vietnam War. And
But that's where you got your ability to be athletic. I mean, you got to be a bad
he played
dude to be.
football, and he was athletic. But so was my mom. My mom was a great lady. She had a master's in business from William and Mary when women didn't have those. So she was very bright, hard. She was German, hard-nosed, tough lady. But I think, my first year of organized football, I was very blessed to have a guy that was a great father, a great man, Roger Meeks. He's not with us anymore. But, had I had a negative experience, I don't know if I'd have felt the same. But that was my first year of organized football, and feel very blessed that the guy made it a great experience for me. And really, I carried that. I had great high school coaches, great
Where did
college
you grow
coaches. I was born in Norfolk, Virginia, and we lived in Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Oh, really? Yeah, we're heading there soon.
Yeah.
Do you ever go back?
It's been a while. I was recruited that area, the Tidewater area, when I was coaching in college football, and particularly at Pitt. I had that in South Florida, so I got to go back. But it's been a while since I've been back because I just don't get back that way.
When the whole problem at Penn State happened a couple years ago, a friend of mine had this great idea that I still think is a great idea, because Penn State was shocked maybe forever. It's going to be a long time till people openly can even root for them after all of that terribleness. But the idea was, if they got Coach Cowher to come in and take over Penn State, it would really give the whole team and the whole community a little bit more hope that maybe something positive would be happening. Are you friends with Coach Cowher?
Yeah, I've known Bill for a long time, way back when he was coaching defense at Kansas City. So
Is going to college after NFL coaching a step down to you guys, or
no,
not
I don't believe
necessarily?
it's a step down. It's just a different game, different rules, a lot more recruiting.
Is the paycheck different? Because it seems like a lot of the college guys get a lot of dough.
Well, if you win, I mean, the paycheck's pretty good everywhere.
Right.
And it's not professional sports per se, so you get paid a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Because you're basically on faculty in most state universities. So, the way they pay you is different, but the figure can be high, and so I don't think it's really a step back by any stretch. I think it's a different game. And
Would you ever
rules.
consider going back to college if
I
you
have
get
a couple of times. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't rule it out. I think I'm at the point now where, I'm not doing this. I'm on the back end of it, so I don't really know how much longer.
But there are coaches that are far older than you in the NFL that I mean, you could be on the back end of this for a long, long time.
Yeah, and it's still a great passion for me. And
Robin's back there going like this.
Yeah, I've got great.
Meaning no college? Is that
College, yeah.
what is why Robin? You want to come over and take a mic, because that's interesting to me that
Robin, come here.
it seems like it's a different time experience, or
It's a different world. It's just totally different.
Well, the recruiting, she doesn't miss that. I mean, I would, so.
Oh, right.
the
So you gotta go
when
find
you're done with
kids.
football, now you're recruiting. So it's like you're on the road all the time. And
you have to
so-
do it yourself.
Oh yeah. So you're in college. You're the scout and the coach.
Oh,
In the
no.
NFL, we have a scouting department that does that while we're playing. We get involved in the draft process, but we're not traveling, like a scout does.
Who's the most important guy you have on your staff? What's his job? Is it the scout? And I know it's hard to say because you got,
really, you got to have it all. I mean, I think sometimes people that have left pro football to go to college, because sometimes they have more power there, have left because you rely on so many people. I mean, you rely on personnel people, you rely on your medical people. I mean, they can flunk guys on physicals, and you can't even take them because they're recommended you don't. You rely on your owner, how committed they are to winning. We're blessed to have a great one. So you rely on your coaches. I mean, it's not a one-man band. I mean, it's you got musicians in the band, so to speak. Your other coaches are great contributors. So I think it takes a lot of good people, and we're blessed to have those people in place.
Are there a lot of shenanigans that go on in behind the scenes?
Well, there's some pranks now. I don't know if that qualifies with shenanigans. Do
you have? Is there like a high level prank that anyone has pulled off? Something?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Can you talk about it?
Off the top of my head.
Wait, hold on a second. Yeah. Robin, can you leave the room for a second?
No, our guys are classic. I mean, Peyton's probably as big as good as anybody that I've been around.
Is he?
Oh yeah.
Is he? When I see him and I see Eli, I don't know either one of the guys. Right. But when I see Peyton, I go like, that seems like he's a great leader. Yeah. When I look at Eli, I don't have the same feeling, but it doesn't mean that it's not true, because it just seems like there's a certain personality that whatever. But they both win. They both know how to win.
They're both, they're both great leaders,
but differently, right?
Yes,
in different
exactly.
ways.
Their personalities are different. I mean, I think their mother and father would tell you the same. And
I guess I've never seen Peyton with this. Like I've seen like Eli get mad at his players, and that turns me off a little bit. He's like, "You stupid jerk," where I've never seen Peyton like vibe out on his players.
Does he talk like that?
Like he'll look. I'll see Peyton.
I don't know if that
obviously,
invitation was quite there, Jay.
like somebody runs the wrong route or something, and Peyton will look like, "Oh shit," but Eli would be like, you fucking jerk." Like, there's just a difference in that. I just want to know, like, do you see that? Or
I've never really seen either one, but I know they're both very competitive and have had great success. So that part's good.
I guess what I'm saying is, if you ever wanted to give Eli a wedgie and shove him in a locker, I'll help you. I will help you do that.
That urge just never really crossed me. All right, but
actually, they both seem like awesome guys. I saw Eli playing with his kids, in Hawaii. It's like all these guys are such like good dads, or they seem to be. Where if you hear about baseball players, man, they're shagging everything around. I mean, they just can't wait to go to Pittsburgh for 3 days because Shelly from the Yoo-Hoo Tavern is there. And
it's actually the Yahoo Tavern.
And her name's Tam.
Jerry, how did you know that?
We travel too.
But football players seem like, is it because it's a personality difference, or truly you don't give them the opportunity to get into that bad situation? Because baseball players will go play 3 straight days in St. Louis, 3 straight days in whatever, and they'll get to go find the pub, and they don't have the same rules. But football players, you can't. You got to get in your room by 7:00, and there's all kinds of other.
I probably can't. I'm not an authority on baseball, but I will say in football, I mean, we're pretty much just one night in, out. We're up early. You got pregame meals. You got to get a good night's sleep. Otherwise, it'd be pretty evident if you didn't. So maybe it's more the travel schedule in football.
Right. I know that you've been married to Robin for a long time, but do you have any girlfriends?
That's a good one. Yeah, that lady sitting next to her, Della. Yeah.
We call them.
She's a girlfriend.
We call them regional wives.
It doesn't work for you, does it, Jerry? I mean, when you're trying to sell that one,
it's working great. Jerry's the funniest because he's married with children. He's been married a long time and happily. His wife's great and he's got a great family. But man, if he is around a single guy, he'll be like, "You have got to talk to her or you're dead." Like Pergo, for instance.
That's good. You're a good wingman.
I'm a great wingman.
Yeah,
no, Pergo. Pergo. He's got no game.
He does. He
all.
does.
Pergo.
I mean,
tell me that's not true.
He's got high standards. Beautiful girls.
Yeah.
Jerry, give me an
Can we go back
example.
to talking about football?
Give Jerry, give Coach Fox an example of some of the experiences. Have you seen Jerry Pergo try to hit on a girl at a bar?
I just got to say the word Tinder is all I have to say.
He just
No,
Is he a
Pergo-
lean up against the wall guy?
No, he does everything right. He didn't do anything wrong. He actually does very well. Pat's throwing him under the bus.
Yeah.
Pergo dates really great looking women.
Is that right?
A couple I've seen over the years.
I hope none of them hear this.
But Tinder, that's where it comes from.
Pergo
Tinder.
gets to do the edits, so
Right.
all of this
Yes.
won't
Yeah,
make
yeah,
the
yeah. So that
podcast.
part will be out. Yeah.
So how do you feel? How do you feel like the preseason's going for this year? And what do you think? What do you think the real future of the Broncos is for this year? Like, where do you see things in a few months?
I feel really good about our season. I mean, I think we got.
How many people did you lose that were on that winning team?
Well,
last
when we
year?
played in the Super Bowl, we were without 7 starters, and Ryan Clady, our left tackle, who's a Pro Bowl player. Defensively, Von Miller.
they came to a place where they were ready to retire.
No. What happened was they got injured, and so what happens is you lose them along the way. We had
you
7
were out
starters.
7 starters.
Yes.
Oh, I
yes,
heard that incorrectly.
yes,
Oh,
yes.
that's amazing.
So, anyways,
that plays
getting
a
those
huge-
guys back and then getting them rehabbed, and plus,
Do you think that was a factor? I mean, the biggest factor, I should say, in that game?
well, I think it is a factor. I mean, when you get guys hurt, a lot of teams got guys hurt along the way. We're blessed that we still had a pretty good season without them. We get them back this year. We went out and signed, some impact guys on defense, Keeb Talib and DeMarcus Ware. And then on offense, Emmanuel Sanders from Pittsburgh. So I think, I really like the way our guys went about their business this offseason. They've used that Super Bowl loss as kind of a fire in their belly, and we've worked very hard, and we had a good first game. We got out of it healthy. We go out to San Francisco this Saturday for our Sunday game.
Right.
That'll be a good test because they're a good football team.
It's a
Right.
new stadium.
Yes, we actually are opening up.
It's beautiful.
That new
Oh, that's
stadium.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
That's
it's
great.
going to be a 1:00 kickoff for whatever reason.
Nice.
I think they're not ready for the nighttime traffic and rush hour.
Do you think Peyton will retire if you win the Super Bowl?
It's hard. He doesn't look like he's ready to retire. He's been great. I think Adam Gates, our offensive coordinator, does a great job of challenging him. That'd be a Peyton question. I really don't have an inkling one way.
Anytime someone says, "Oh, well, I'm going to go have neck surgery," that doesn't sound like, "Hey, I'm going to go have a mole removed." Like
Right.
that's
No,
a
serious.
serious thing that could alter your life if something happens again. So you'd think that.
Well, more of his thing was, there's no doubt there were some concerns there, but, some nerve damage that affect his throwing motion and his throwing arm. Nerves take a little bit long to grow
Right.
and regenerate. So I think it was just
But
more of a
he
time
went
process.
to the Super Bowl the year after it. Like he's the serious guy.
Yeah, no doubt.
I
No
mean, I
doubt.
think I could beat him up. Do you
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that?
I might put my money on Peyton on that one. I'm sorry, Pat, but no.
He would squish my head with his football hand and I would be dead. I think you're going to win the Super Bowl this year. And I'm saying that as a guy who's I'm a fan of football,
Right.
and but I've seen you build this team, and I've seen you come back from life-altering surgery, and you look amazing, and you're fired up, and I don't think that it's going to be easy to beat the Broncos this year.
We're looking forward to the season, no doubt, and our guys, are excited about it. It's a great city, great state. We have great fans, and we definitely have a home field advantage. And we have high expectations. We're expecting a lot.
I bet you do. And how, when I run here or do any exercise here, I'm winded in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
How does anyone beat a team ever who works out in this altitude? Because you'd think that you would, like Colorado State and every school up here would just destroy everybody, because I'm winded. I can't be here for more than, the acclimation time is like 3 weeks, I think, right?
Well, it's definitely a huge home field advantage. And I think.
Did you notice in your coaching when you came to Denver, like everything's different?
Oh yeah. When we go on vacation for those 5 weeks, when you come back, you
you're
live
like,
here.
"Whoa."
All right. You feel it.
Yeah.
It takes a couple days to where you don't feel it. Now, it's still, I'm not talking about running 5 miles. I don't do that. I'm just talking about, working, walking up the steps at work or just
I get
around.
winded walking to catering.
Yeah. Maybe it's all that you get there.
I always wondered that about Colorado.
It is, Pat. It's a huge, especially in the first 10 minutes of the game.
Right.
Because it's a mental block.
Right.
Once you get through it, you can push through it. It's like any other, outdoor, whether it's rain or snow, any kind of those things. You have to adjust mentally.
Right.
And, but like the first 10 minutes of a game, it's a little bit of a wall to cross.
I bet.
Yeah.
I mean, watching guys come in and play you guys, I can imagine that after the first quarter, they're like, can I sit out for the next quarter? But
We call it tap your head.
Yeah, right.
It's a tap out, yeah.
Well, I'm not going to keep you much longer, but there were a couple of things I wanted to check in with. Pergo always has a list of questions that he wants to make sure that I catch, and I don't know if I got them all. Do you have any recommendations? The
Virgo's
second thing
got the
is
thumbs up.
the second thing is
Got a meet and greet to get to.
Yeah.
is there a train song that maybe we could play right now, and you could either lip sync or actually
Just
chime
do like
in?
a William Shatner talking through it.
Yeah, maybe you could William Shatner talk through it. That
Wow.
anything we could do that
I
would.
mean, Robin, my wife, has conditioned me. I mean, even in church on Sundays, I have to lip sync. So
Oh, really?
I'm not really sure I've sang in the last 29 years.
So if you try to sing in church, Robin gives you the elbow. Oh, that's smart.
Or just the look. Oh,
It's
it's all it
just a
took.
look.
I got crushed. She looked over at me. I'm belting out. I think I got my shower voice working. Yeah. She elbows me in the ribs and looks me dead in the eye and says, "Are you tone deaf?"
Maybe Robin.
Virgo, I was shattered. I mean, I've not come back since.
Robin, what's a good song you can sing with us?
Yeah. She actually has a good voice.
Yeah?
I didn't elbow her in the side, though. I mean,
What's your favorite train song, Robin? Do you?
I like Save Me San Francisco.
Wow.
I like that one.
That's
All right.
pretty easy for them to sing. It's not like.
Let's do it.
My favorite's Good to Me.
Really,
All
good
right.
to me. We're gonna do that tonight.
All right.
Which one do you want to play right now?
You know what? We don't have to do it.
Oh, no, I'd love to hear it. All
Why
right.
don't we do a little up to the first chorus?
Sure.
Okay.
And this does not imply that we're rooting for San Francisco next week when you're playing them. I just want to throw that out there, that this is just about this moment now.
I'm glad we clarified that, Pat.
I used to love the tenderloin till I made some tender coin. Then I met some ladies from Marin. We took the highway to the one out the coast to catch some sun. They left me with these blisters on my skin. Don't know what I was on, but I think it grows in Denver. Going on right through. I drove into Seattle rain, fell in love, then missed a train. Could have took me right back home to you. I've been high, I've been low, Robin. I've been rockin', rollin' disco. Won't you save me, San Francisco?
Awesome.
There you go, Jerry. Great job, Pat.
Well, thanks so much for doing the podcast. Is there anything you want to tell Denver Bronco fans that are just kind of, I mean, you have great fans, man. They're so
We do.
committed. And, that's another thing. Have you been around fans that you go like, they're all right. But some cities are like, those are serious fans.
I won't go into that, but I will say this. I've been blessed to be some great organizations, but our fans here, we were out last Wednesday at a scrimmage, and we had 15,000 fans sitting around just the bottom level in a downpour for 2.5
Really?
hours.
That's amazing.
Those are fans.
Yeah.
We do have great fans.
What's a great tour find that you can tell Broncos fans or any fans about that you found on the road by traveling around that you wouldn't have found otherwise? Like a great burger joint or a record store or...
There's a place here in Denver, right down in Cherry Creek, called the Cherry Cricket. That's outstanding. I got into a little routine with our family. We went every Saturday after practice, before our Sunday Bronco game. Roberto's in San Diego, a great little taco joint. Gosh.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
That's a good
there's a
start.
couple good ones.
How do you do any media stuff? Do you have a Twitter or Instagram or anything like that?
No.
Your wife is laughing.
No, I know.
He's got a MySpace page.
To me, it's a little bit like talk radio. I've never called in on a show, so I'm not going to offer out information that I don't. So I kind of just stay in the dugout. Every time you go up to the plate, you can get whacked. So I follow Twitter, but I don't have a handle or anything.
You don't have it, okay.
Yeah.
I
I use it for info.
Your players do. Do you allow them to connect to media during a game, or do
No, you can't. There's hard, fast rules on that.
Okay.
Time limits before, time limits after a
Okay.
game.
What are those? How far
I
before?
think it's like 30 minutes. Or
Oh,
they
on either
can't-
side.
Yeah. So
And then do some guys like they'll be writing things during the game, but then they'll send them all after? Like, did you see that shit, bitch? I have to throw that shit. Like a lot of shit talking. Is there a lot of shit talk on the field? Like crazy
it
amounts?
is a combative game, so I'm sure there's some things. We're not out there with
Is
them.
there anyone as good at it as Michael Jordan?
No, Sherman. Who was that guy? Sherman.
Oh, Sherman, right.
Remember with the San Francisco last year?
Yeah, I
Yo,
think,
Jerry hates Sherman.
It's again, it is a emotional game.
How do you
it's kind
feel?
of neat part about it.
Right.
Sometimes I don't know if fans are ready for it, but there's some things that happen on the field that just like any combative event.
And how do you feel about the celebration in the end zone stuff? If you're going to do it.
Well, I think there's respect. I mean, there's a certain amount of respect that belongs in the game.
Right.
Something that's just emotional. It's not in your face kind of stuff.
Right.
I'm okay with.
So if you scored a touchdown today, what would your reaction be?
Well, one thing I wouldn't be doing is jamming it over the goalpost because I couldn't get close.
Yeah. That'd be pretty cool, though.
Anything spiking the ball, anything. None of this joint stuff.
My favorite move is when the player hands it to the ref and says,
Yeah.
"We're going to be doing this a lot today."
Yeah. That's pretty classy. I think it's a good one.
Because it looks like I'm here so often,
Right.
I don't need to celebrate. Like, this is just my job. I'll see you in a few minutes. Like,
was Chuck Noll's
that's
one.
badass.
Act like you've been there before.
Yeah, act like you've been there
I
before.
like those crazy Ocho Cinco celebrations where he dresses up like Santa Claus and hands out presents.
We've seen a few. We have seen a few. There are some classics.
Man, thank you so much for doing this. I think any fan of any sport is going to love listening to this because, and I think I think coaches should listen to it and get a sense of what it's like to be such an approachable, lovely person. I mean, it's kind of the nature of being a human being. No one's more human than John Fox. Like, I think that's what great leadership is. I think that's why you're a winner and why your team wins. And it's not just Peyton Manning. I mean, he's gonna wear the uniform and throw the ball. But without you, I don't think Peyton could be doing what he's doing. And so, thanks so much for this. And on behalf of the Denver Broncos fans, thanks from them as well.
All right, appreciate that.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you another time.
All right, Patrick.
There you have it, folks. That was another NFL edition of the Patcast. It was so cool for all of us to have Coach Fox around, not just for the Patcast, but backstage that night. And we wish him the best of luck this season. You won't find him on Twitter or Instagram much. He's pretty busy, but you can always keep tabs on what he's doing anyway, as the press keeps up with him all season. But you can keep up with us, as always, at patcast.com and at Patcast Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. We'll see you next Monday. And once again, keep looking out at SaveMeSanFrancisco.com for those nude pictures of Jimmy. Thanks.